This week on Waterways, mangrove habitat, mangrove snappers, and the clean marinas of Florida. Animals rarely belong to one place. The colorful songbirds that grace North Carolina forests in summer spend the winter in South America. Turtles pass most of their lives in the sea, but come to land to lay their eggs on sandy beaches. Protecting these animals means protecting every place where they live. Many fish that roam the coral reefs near Biscayne Bay didn't spend their entire lives on those reefs. As fingerlings, they may have hovered near blades of seagrass. As juveniles, they may have lurked in dark spaces between mangrove roots at Sandy Key. To manage these fish, we need to know each of the places where they live.
Well, as you know, fish are, unlike plants, they move around. And so if you make any restrictions, for example, on where people may fish, it really matters how much fish move in and out of those habitats. So our movement study really focuses on the extent to which fish are not only moving within habitats, but among habitats.
Gray snapper, often called mangrove snapper, is one of the most popular game fish in South Florida. In terms of sheer numbers and weight, they dominate the waters around mangrove keys and shorelines. Because of their importance to the angling economy and to the natural system, managers are watching snapper closely.
Gray snapper is an interesting beast. It utilizes pelagic habitats as larvae. As juveniles, it uses seagrass habitats. As they get a little bit older, they move into mangrove habitats, and then ultimately their destination is the reef. Gray snapper is a good species because it occupies all those different environments in order to complete its life cycle.
To study the movements of gray snapper, researchers at the University of Miami's Rosenthal School are tagging the fish. When tagging fish, the researchers use rod and reel to catch their study subjects.
More time they're out of the water, it's stressful. We work on it in
They wisely use blunted hooks so as not to kill or seriously injure their specimens.
We're using 3 different types of tags. One is a conventional streamer tag, which is placed in the fish, and you rely on fishermen to return that fish. All you get out of a tag like that is where it was tagged and where it ended up. Some of the electronic tags will actually log the depths and temperatures that fish has experienced, and then you rely on fishermen to, again, return the fish, or the carcass anyway, with the tag to piece that together. And then the third type of tag emits a ultrasonic signal, which allows you basically to locate the animal based on that signal. This particular tagging project allows us to validate some of the assumptions we've made about multiple habitat use and also refute some others. It looks like for the most part, there is a stepping stone habitat utilization pattern being followed by many coral reef fish, from seagrass to mangrove to reef. But there are some differences depending on the species.
Although tag returns have been limited, the scientists were surprised to see gray snapper moving as much as 80 miles in a period of a month. Another surprise was the number of adult fish found in so-called nursery habitats like seagrass and mangroves. Each of the places the gray snapper uses, seagrass, mangrove, and reef, are like links in a chain that make up its life. The gray snapper is only as healthy as the weakest link. For gray snapper and many other fish, the weakest link may be mangroves. Biscayne Bay, a shallow lagoon on Florida's southeastern coast, has lost almost 80% of the mangrove wetlands that once surrounded it. Development in Miami has turned what was formerly wild shoreline into concrete seawalls and limestone boulders. Since at least the 1950s, the mangrove creeks and shore that line Biscayne Bay have received much less fresh water than they did historically. Because of these threats to mangroves, Joe Serafy and his colleagues are paying special attention to them. In 1998, they initiated a study to see how important this habitat was to gray snapper and to the dozens of other species of fish that use it. Using a technique called the belt transect census, they snorkel along mangrove prop routes, recording the number and kinds of creatures that live there.
The visual survey is what we do is we're looking at the densities, diversities of fish. So we go in, we do a 30-meter section of, we just swim 30 meters, count all fish, all sizes. We do a minimum size fish, maximum size fish, and an average size fish. We do that for 30 meters. We finish with that site. We have 68 sites throughout Biscayne Bay.
From this information, scientists are learning about the importance of mangrove habitats. This information is vitally important to resource managers at Biscayne National Park, a marine park that includes much of Biscayne Bay.
Well, it's our job as employees of the National Park System to maintain and conserve the resources in the park so that people can enjoy them today and so they can enjoy them in the future. And we realize that the way to do that, the best way to do that, is to understand the resource, is to use sound science to make management decisions. So we attempt to get the best science in to answer the questions that we need to be able to make the management decisions that will allow the resources to be enjoyed by everyone today and into the future.
The information that Joe and his colleagues gather will also serve as a measuring stick or baseline. By comparing what they find today with what others find in 10 or 20 years, they can determine if Biscayne Bay is changing for better or for worse. This is especially relevant as the state and federal governments embark upon a multi-billion-dollar project to restore fresh water to South Florida's wetlands and bays. Often called Everglades restoration, this massive project will also bring more fresh water to Biscayne Bay.
Well, it's likely that with the Everglades restoration plan that the changes to the way that water is delivered to the bay is going to cause the bay to become much more estuarine, or much more less salty than it is now, but a better freshwater saltwater mix. And that would be similar to its historical state. And that would likely mean, from a fish and invertebrate standpoint, that you would see estuarine communities start to come back in. That's for a large part absent from the bay now.
Scientists anticipate the bay will change for the better, but to be sure, they're collecting data to tell us whether we are successful.
If we don't monitor the fish now before these changes, we'll never be able to evaluate whether all the billions of dollars being spent on Everglades restoration is ultimately having any impact.
Whether it is to learn how to best manage gray snapper, to find out how important mangroves are to Biscayne Bay, or to measure the success of Everglades restoration, the University of Miami's work is already proving invaluable.
The tag number is 85793. It's gray with a blue tip.
There is much to know about the natural world. Thanks to the efforts of Joe Seraphy and his team, the picture is getting clearer. Many people would say you couldn't truly enjoy the Florida Keys without a boat. Boat shops, marinas, and retail stores that cater to the boating public fuel the economy of the Keys. In Monroe County, there are approximately 200 marinas and boat yards. This is more than 10% of the marinas and boat yards in the entire state of Florida. While marinas get people out on the water, if they're managed or used improperly, they can introduce gas, oil, and garbage into the same waters people have come to enjoy. State and federal agencies are aware of this connection. They are also aware that the best environmental protections are those that make economic sense and take advantage of people's desire to do the right thing. This is why the Florida DEP formed the Clean Marina program.
The Clean Marina program is a voluntary partnership between government agencies, the Marine Industry Association, and the marine facility itself in order to achieve an environmental goal of water quality and a better environment. The Clean Marina program has been going on since about 1998. It started out of Tallahassee with a group of folks that got together related to marine issues and environmental issues. And then it went from there, it spread out throughout the state as far as workshops.
The first step for a marina desiring a coveted Clean Marina designation is interest and desire. The Clean Boating Partnership oversees the implementation of the Clean Marina program and has regular workshops to discuss environmental issues or problems that impact marinas and boat yards. Workshops are conducted throughout the state by DEP Clean Marina coordinators along with their partnering groups to help marinas become familiar with the program and to help them get started. At the workshop, marina representatives are given a package of materials which is a collection of marine environmental measures. Marine environmental measures are the marina's guide to best management practices. In addition, the workbook contains a checklist for marinas to use to grade themselves on how they comply with the program.
The checklist that a marina would use in order to determine whether a clean marina is broken up into two parts. We have Category 1, which are items that all marinas have in common with each other. They're going to be things like emergency preparedness, boat cleaning operations, and similar type things that are spread throughout any marina you go to. Category 2 are going to be things that a marina does that maybe your neighboring marina doesn't do. For example, some marinas will do fueling, so they'll have, along with that, they'll have fuel tank issues.
In Monroe County, there are 43 marinas that have pledged to the program. As of November 2003, 7 marinas have achieved the designation and been officially recognized for their efforts toward environmental stewardship. These clean marinas are eager to share their experiences.
Well, the Clean Marina designation is a friendly way of the state to bring a marina into compliance with established rules and laws of the state, environmental laws. And so what we went through was to take a look at what we were doing, and a lot of that was already there. We were really accomplishing a lot of that. But we weren't really aware of some things that the state required. And through the process, we were able to go through a checklist, and that took about 9 months to go through that checklist and make sure that we had everything down. It was really easy once we realized that we were doing probably 40% of that. It was just a matter of getting the process and put it together.
Part of the Clean Marina designation program is to inform our visitors and our guests about the procedures and regulations that we follow here in Flamingo. And one of the things that we needed to do was upgrade our signage.
Increased visibility of signage and educational materials are the standards that must be upheld for Clean Marina designation. Educating marina personnel as well as providing environmental education to boaters is the key to the success of the Clean Marina program. Every clean marina must have at least one designated environmental resource person. They are responsible for assisting marina patrons with information on items such as sensitive habitats near the marina, sewage pump out, and proper boat waste disposal. For example, a clean marina will assist a boater in locating proper disposal for such items as used oil, old batteries, and recyclable materials. The marina may additionally provide for the proper disposal of these items on site.
What happened prior to this was that most of the materials that we're using in the recycling went right into the water. Batteries went underwater, spent flares were shot off, usually on the 4th of July, and mercury switches were tossed into the mainstream of the solid waste. And of course, all of that is something that the Clean Marina takes care of and picks up.
A marina uses the checklist provided by the Clean Marina program to perform a self-audit of their facility and to score themselves to determine if they meet the requirements of the program. Once a marina feels confident they meet the requirements, they request a survey from the Clean Marina program to determine if they meet the guidelines.
If they've met those requirements, we'll then send that up for a designation or a recommendation for designation to our secretary, who will sign off as appropriate. Once the designation has been accepted, we'll conduct a ceremony.
It's only been less than a year and a half that Tavernier Creek has really been working on this. And they've always been one of our strongest supporters in all of our programs in the Coast Guard Auxiliary. And watching Laura work with Tony and Herman to get this place where it is today has just been a real thrill.
What the Clean Marina program is all about is clean water. And that water you see out there and that environment you see out there belongs to you, belongs to every citizen of Florida. You have the right to expect a clean environment in the state of Florida. And through working together with the owners of marinas and all the citizens of Florida, the hope is that they will take responsibility for their ownership of their own environment. And Laura, someone told me you really wanted this.
I've been wanting this flag for a year and a half. Oh. That's it. Thank you very, very much.
Well, on behalf of Governor Bush and David Drews, our secretary, it's now yours.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to drive it around and put it up right now.
After being designated a clean marina, the marina gets to raise a flag for all to see. The DEP adds the marina to a list that recommends the marina to boaters. There is a publicity campaign in the surrounding community. All these actions are aimed at rewarding business people who care about their environment.
we are actually encouraging boaters to go to those marinas. That's the purpose of the flag and the designation is this is a beacon that you should be looking for when you're a boater to go out and if you're going to choose a place to stay maybe overnight or to dock for a week or so, we're encouraging you to go to those areas that are actually flying the flag that have shown that they're trying to make a difference.
The Clean Marina program, through association with the Clean Boating Partnership, has several grant opportunities for marinas that need financial assistance in upgrading their facilities. The state and the DEP understand the economy of marinas and boatyards, and they are offering a helping hand.
For marinas that are interested in the program, or even those that might be thinking about it, I'd strongly encourage them to go ahead and take part, at least to make the first move towards the program and take advantage of some of the grant opportunities that are out there, because you never know what the future might hold, how long grants will stay available with funding shortages the way they are with government agencies. Grants don't last forever.
The Clean Marina program is dependent upon voluntary participation and a desire to provide environmentally conscious activities. The idea behind the Clean Marina program is to provide incentives and remove institutional roadblocks in achieving resource stewardship. The program works through incentives, not regulations.
From an economical standpoint, it sort of makes sense to maintain the water quality issue because this is what brings people from out of the state to Florida to enjoy our water quality. From an environmental standpoint, I mean, they kind of go hand in hand. Clean water means a healthier environment, something that you can enjoy, your kids can enjoy, you can pass on from generation to generation.
The aim of the Clean Marina program is prevention. Marinas and boaters may not be aware of the environmental laws, rules, and jurisdictions with which they must comply. But through these programs, the message is getting out there.